welcome, Marty, to the Be the One podcast. Thank you.
Avery.
Yes, thank you for coming by our studio right down the hall from our offices. But I'm so glad you're here today. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you for asking.
So for those listeners who don't know you as well, tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Marty Lester.
Marty Lester, born in 1961. I'm 61 years old right now. I'm married to Chris, and we have 5 children.
Yes.
I've been in education for 27 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
10 years before that, I was an attorney
Yes, you were.
in Mobile, Alabama, and Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
Our kids are grown. They're finished with school.
Mhm.
They're just doing great things, and we're very proud of them.
Yes.
But, that's
it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yes. And I failed to formally introduce you as our head of school. So yeah, you've had quite a career. You had some time of teaching in there too, didn't you?
I did. The
Mhm.
first 9 years, I taught history at
Oh.
St. Paul's Episcopal School
Yes.
in Mobile.
Mhm.
Loved it.
Mhm.
I coached. I taught. I mean, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then one day, somebody convinced me to be an administrator, and that changed. No, I'm just kidding. I really am kidding about that. I really have felt for those 27 years that I've had the best job in the world, and I really mean that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's very rewarding.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment.
No.
No day is the same. Yes. All those things.
And you can plan all you want to,
Yes.
but things change.
Things change.
Every day.
Exactly. Every day. That's right.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about tell us how you ended up deciding to leave the law practice or practicing law to move into education.
Growing up, my heroes were my teachers
Mhm.
and my coaches,
Mhm.
and I always admired them and wanted to be like them.
Mhm.
Went to college, was a history major, and at that
Mhm.
time, everybody that was a history major went to law school.
Right. That
So
was just the path.
I did that.
Mhm.
And practiced law. I gave it a
Mhm.
really good shot. I worked for an insurance defense firm.
Mhm.
I worked in the DA's office.
Mhm.
I did all those things, different
Mhm.
types of law.
Mhm.
But in the back of my mind, I always thought, I really want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And I got to be 34, had children everywhere, mortgage and all that, and I decided to take the leap.
Yeah.
So I went back to graduate school.
Mhm.
And I was working my way through it. And then I saw a friend who worked at St. Paul's.
Mhm.
I just asked her what the process was. Did I need to be certified? And she
Right.
said, no, I'll just send you an application.
Mhm.
And I did. And I got a phone call from the person who became my mentor,
Oh,
Pat
really?
Taylor,
Oh,
and said,
I love that.
ask if I wanted to come in and interview.
Mhm.
And I said, yeah. And so I went in, and I've always said I'm a lawyer by training,
Mhm.
but I'm a teacher or an educator by fortune.
Oh, yeah, I
And
love that.
I've, just am so lucky, I'm so
Mhm.
fortunate.
That's awesome. So you taught there, and then you became an administrator.
Right,
You were head of school at St. Paul's.
right.
So what brought you here to Brookstone?
It's funny. I was on a reaccreditation visit at Brookstone probably in 2008, 2009, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being impressed. And I can remember getting in my car and calling my wife, Chris, and say, hey, I'm on the way home. And she said, what'd you think? I said, this is really a special place.
Really?
And, just as time wore on and I was at St. Paul's and I was obviously well established there, we talked and I said, there are only 2 places that I would leave St. Paul's for. And one of them was Brookstone.
Really?
And then one day I get a phone call and an invitation to come and talk. And I did. And things just fell into place rapidly, actually. But again, fortune smiled,
Right.
and
Right. That's
I've
awesome.
been here
And you've been here for 7 years,
7
right?
years. Yeah.
Wow, that's hard to believe because on one hand, it seems like that's a long time, but then it also seems like it just happened.
It feels sometimes like I've just blinked,
Right. I
and
know.
7
I
years
feel
have
the
gone
same
by.
way. I feel
Yeah,
the same way. It's been really fun these 7 years.
they
So,
have been.
okay. So, what are some of your favorite things now about being here at Brookstone? What have some of your favorite things been?
I think one thing that I've learned quickly
Mm-hmm.
was the fact that this truly is a student-centered
Mm-hmm.
school,
Mm-hmm.
more so than any place I've seen.
Really? Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, the conversations that we have in meetings, or whether it's faculty, admin,
Right.
whatever,
Right.
there's kind of a guiding principle. Our mission, obviously, is something that we pay a lot of attention to.
Yes.
But I think most decisions, if not all decisions that are made here, are made with the thought that we need to do what is in the best interest or the best thing for our students.
Yes. Totally
And
agree.
I think there's a passion there.
Mm-hmm.
There's an understanding that
Mm-hmm.
it is the right thing to do
Right.
for everybody that works here.
Right. Totally agree.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is one of the things that makes us special.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. And I love that even on your visit, it came across to you that this was someplace special because,
Absolutely.
I
I mean,
wholeheartedly
it would just
agree.
resonated with me. I
That's
took it back,
fantastic.
to work, and I worked at St. Paul's for a number of years after
Mm-hmm.
that, but
Mm-hmm.
I never forgot,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to be a part of it. And
Yeah.
just it happened.
Yeah.
So
I know. It's just meant to be.
yeah, I was so grateful.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, so were we. So were we for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank
I know.
you.
I remember you on your visits here in the whole interview process. And so, and like I said, on one hand, that seems like forever ago. And on the other hand, it seems like yesterday. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So now that you have been here, what are some of your favorite Brookstone traditions?
I don't know how you can not talk about the month of May
Yes.
and graduation
Yes.
and
It's right around the corner.
just how beautiful it is and
It
how
is.
meaningful it
I
is.
know.
I was invited to come up before I even started,
Mhm.
the spring before I started.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember sitting there with Chris, and I just said, "This is incredible. This is beautiful. I hope nobody from St. Paul's ever comes to watch this because they're going to want
To replicate it?
yeah."
Yeah.
And I turned around and I realized that one of our board members at St. Paul's wife is sitting right behind me.
Oh, how
It's like,
funny.
okay, so busted. But it is that whole thing from the senior awards night, prom, which is in April, and everything that leads up to it, that celebration of the
Of the
seniors
seniors, yeah.
is just such a wonderful experience
It's really special.
for them. And I love that time.
I do too. I do too. There's so many events and it's so busy and so many people who are outside of the senior class, like parents who don't have seniors, don't really realize some of these events until it's their turn.
Right.
But the whole school just turns such a sweet spotlight on these seniors. And
It really
you know,
does. I mean, it's obviously thought provoking for the seniors,
right,
but it's also very touching for those of us that are here,
right,
that played
very much so.
a role in their
Right.
development and their preparation for going into life.
I know.
It's just something to be incredibly proud of.
I agree. I agree. So you've already alluded a little bit to it, but what are some of the things that set Brookstone apart?
You know, again, the student-centered aspect of it, but it's just it is almost a complete school. I mean, we have the most beautiful campus.
It is gorgeous.
We have teachers who are dedicated and they're continually growing. They're learning, they're doing everything they can to make themselves better, again, for our students. One thing that I think is very different about Brookstone is we have that capacity to deal with what's going on during the day and looking ahead to the week to
Mhm.
come, or the month, or quarter, or whatever.
Mhm.
But we also have that ability to pick our heads up and look and, okay, that's then, but what's going to happen in a year,
Right.
or 5 years, or
Right.
10 years? And
Mhm.
that planning is
Mhm.
something we engage in.
Mhm.
Not
Mhm.
everybody has that capacity to do
Mhm.
that, or that desire to do it,
Mhm.
but I think we do it well.
Mhm. I think so too. I really do. Having seen some of that work, even how, we look back at meetings where like we were talking about this 7 years ago,
Right,
and now it's happening,
right,
and and all the planning that has gone into making these things happen.
right.
We're constantly trying to improve and grow, all of us. And so I applaud you and appreciate the fact that you have continued and fostered that environment that has allowed the faculty and has allowed the administration to grow like that.
I don't know if I fostered that or if I just got out of the way, because again, people are driven
Yeah.
to do that, to
Mhm.
make us better.
Mhm. I think so. I think so. Um, and so along those lines, what are some of the things we need to be doing to prepare our kids for the future? Not only like Brookstone, but just education in general. What are some of the things we really need to be equipping our children for?
I think that we really have to talk about how we cannot predict
Mhm.
what the future will bring.
Mhm.
What we
Mhm.
have to do is understand that, but also imbue in our students a capacity to pivot, to
Mhm.
change, to
Yes.
grow as things present themselves.
Mhm.
It's a challenging time in education.
Mhm.
It's a challenging time to be educated,
Mhm.
because of the unknown.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
again, I think we are situated in a place, both from a strategic standpoint and
Mhm.
in just the execution of that strategy,
Mhm.
to prepare our students for what's to come.
Mhm.
Um, one of the best things about working here is working with the admin team that I
Yes.
do, and you
Yeah.
have been a part of it for my entire 7 years. But I love how when challenges come,
Mhm.
there is no ego. There
Absolutely. Right.
is, there's no decision that we're going to have to do things my way. It
Right.
is,
Right.
what are we going to do?
Right.
What is the best thing to do? And let's make it work.
Right.
Let's make it happen.
Right.
And I've learned so much from the people I work with,
Mhm.
and this place, and the
Mhm.
parents, the kids.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
they are
They
fabulous.
are
Um,
fabulous.
and I still, middle of the night, I'll get a text from a student who have just known
Mhm.
for their
Mhm.
years here, and
Mhm.
just checking in.
Yeah,
And that's that's just wonderful.
it really is. We see that a lot when we have talked to teachers and to students that those relationships continue long after students leave and after they
Now, I
graduate.
don't get as many texts as Jim East does, but occasionally I'll get one.
Well, it's always really special when it happens.
Yeah.
It really is. So, and I wholeheartedly agree about the admin team. I mean, it's just such a fine group of people, fine group of educators, and everything is just what's in the best interest of the child. And
You're right.
the collaboration, it's just such a great group of people. It really is. So,
Yeah,
I'm grateful to be a part of it as well, for sure.
me too. And then
Um,
that's a group that a lot of times I just get out of the way, because they're going to do what's right.
Mhm, mhm, and we've had some things to navigate.
Ooh.
So, just yeah. Thinking about COVID alone, just COVID. Wow, that it was amazing to watch our school react to that.
The thing I'll always remember about that is
Mhm,
just how proud I was to
mhm,
be a part of that group.
mhm,
We were presented with the problem that, um, maybe people had thought about in the back
right,
of their minds
right.
could happen, but we were faced with, okay, it's happening.
Mhm,
We
mhm,
have to come up with a plan, and we
mhm.
have to serve our
Right,
students,
right,
and we have
right,
to care for our teachers,
right.
and we have to care for each other.
Mhm,
And I really believe we did that better
Mm-hmm.
than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I listen to other heads talking about their schools and their reactions. And in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking, with a smile on my face, we did it better than you did. So, and that's not arrogance.
No, I
It's
know.
fact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. So you are retiring at the end of this year,
I am.
and we're going to miss you so much.
Well, I'm just going to be right down the road.
Yeah.
So, I actually, Chris and I have decided to stay in Columbus because
I'm so
it's
thrilled.
become home.
Yeah.
And I really didn't have much of a choice because, as I kind of mentioned, the possibility of,
Mhm.
we're going to stay, we're going to go somewhere else.
Mhm.
Chris just kind of said, well, if you move somewhere else, I'll miss you. I was like, okay. But no, I mean, friends,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
city, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the school community have
Right.
just been a huge part of our lives.
Right.
And
Right.
we will stay.
Good. That is good news for us, for sure.
Thank you.
So not that you want to even think about the things that you will miss, but what are some of the things you will miss about being here at school?
That's such a long list
I
of
know.
things. You alluded to it. You never know what's going to happen when you
Right.
walk in. But I will miss the rhythm of
Mhm.
the school that
Mhm.
develops pretty quickly.
Mhm.
That fresh start every August when the
Right.
new faculty come in and,
Right.
we're talking to them about what it is to be a part of the Brookstone family.
Mhm. Mhm.
And just to kind of watch them become children looking into the window of the candy shop.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you mean you just want me to teach? I said, well,
Mhm.
no, I want you to teach really well.
Right. Right.
And just that expression of I'm free to practice my craft, to
Mhm.
develop my art.
Mhm.
I will miss that
Yeah.
and the expressions on their faces. I'll miss the cafeteria. You go in there, you can tell what division's in there by the noise.
You absolutely can.
I
That's so
mean,
true.
some divisions are deafening, others are reflective. But I'll miss that.
Mhm.
I'll just I'll miss the quad.
Yeah.
I'll miss the games and
Mhm.
hearing from teachers past and present about how
Yeah.
things are going.
Yeah.
But like I said, we'll be less than 4 miles from school.
Yes.
So
There you go. So
yeah.
you will still get to come back and enjoy a lot of
Yeah.
those things. So, all right. Well, just well, before I get to the fun facts, what are you looking forward to about retirement? Because I know it's got to be exciting.
Well, I have forgotten what it is to experience in August or September. So I'm kind of curious what that'll be like. But
Mhm.
I I'm retiring from being a head of school or being
Yes.
a school administrator, but I'm going to be able to choose some things that are very important to me.
That's awesome. Good. Yes.
And I'm going to enjoy that very much.
Mhm. Mhm.
Maybe not having that daily schedule will
Mhm.
free
Right.
me up to
Mhm.
do even more things that
Yes.
I'm not really aware of right
Right.
now.
Right.
But
That you haven't had the freedom to do.
that part's exciting.
Mhm.
I'm going from having no children married and no grandchildren to having 3 married and 2 grandchildren,
Yes.
this summer.
This summer. I
So
know.
I'm very excited about that.
That is very
I've
exciting.
wanted to be a grandfather for a long time,
Yeah.
and we are just excited
That's
about
awesome.
that.
As you should be. And will they be close by? One will be far away, right?
No,
No?
my children choose to be geographically diverse, so they're kind of all over. So by retiring from Brookstone, I'll be
Mhm.
able to
To
go
go and
see
travel.
them
That's
and
awesome.
see my grandchildren.
That's so exciting. Yay. I'm excited about that for you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so just some fun facts.
Okay.
Because our audience listeners want to know these things. Yes.
Okay.
So, some of your favorite movies.
Um, you know, when I was going through the interview process, I was asked that question
Really?
in the open
Like in
teacher
one of the
forum.
forums? Mm-hmm.
Bill Harrell
Really?
asked me, "What's your favorite movie?" And I said, "Local Hero." It's
I don't
a
know that.
independent film from the early '80s that was set in a Scottish town
Okay.
that was the target of a big oil company. They were going to take it over and put a refinery there, but they
Okay.
were going to buy all the land around
Mhm.
it, and just
Mhm.
the quirkiness of that town and the people that lived there and how endearing they were to the oil executive who's the main character.
Uh-huh.
And I've loved that movie
That's so fun.
since 1983.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've watched it, but
I'll have to put it
I
on my list.
I kind of was spoiled in Mobile because
Mhm.
there was an independent movie theater
Mm.
there and a very eclectic movie collection that kind
Uh-huh.
of worked its way through there. I
Oh,
mean,
that's
everything from
fun.
documentaries to mysteries to whatever.
Oh, that's so
So
neat.
the genre I guess I would choose would be that small independent
Uh-huh.
movie.
That's awesome.
So
Yes. Gone are the days where these little independent movie theaters are, at least around Columbus. So maybe the one in Mobile is still there. I don't know.
it's still there, but it struggles.
Yeah.
But it has a
Oh,
very
no.
loyal following,
I'm sure.
and we have hoped that would happen
Yeah.
in Columbus, and we're still hoping.
Yes, we can still hope. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Can put that on the list of things we want to see.
Right.
Okay, so what about books? What are some of your favorite books?
I'm a history
Yes.
person,
Mm-hmm.
and I read a lot of nonfiction
Mm-hmm.
history, but then I'll delve into other things,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
other types of literature, and I'm kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I probably have 5 books going right now at
Really?
home.
Yeah. So you're one of those that has multiples
Yeah,
going at the same time. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they're not connected in
Yeah.
any way.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always been a reader
Yeah.
for some
Yeah.
reason.
I love reading too. I really do. So, but I'm kind of more like that too. I've got several that I've started pausing, go back to, but not necessarily start and finish one at one time before I start another one.
Yeah, having a Kindle, that's dangerous.
I know.
Because, oh, yeah, that sounds good. And,
Yeah.
I'll go by it and it's like, when did I buy this book? So,
Okay, so what about restaurants? Favorite restaurant? And it doesn't have to be here in Columbus because I know you have a favorite restaurant, or at least I've heard you mention one that's not here in Columbus.
yeah, I do have lots of favorite restaurants. If I had to choose one in Columbus, I would probably pick Uptown Vietnamese.
Oh, really? I've
Yeah.
never been there.
It's unfortunately we are creatures of habit
Mhm,
in our
mhm.
house, and we go there a lot. And there's some other restaurants too, but I I order the same thing every time, and I'll look across the table at my wife and say, "This is my favorite meal ever." But we, there are a lot of places. Just growing up,
Mhm.
Birmingham, Jackson, Mobile, obviously, different types of food and things like that. There's a place in Mobile called the Dewdrop Inn, and
Oh, that's a cute name.
they have a great hot dog there. And in an admin meeting, I was very excited about. There's a chicken fingers place that opened up in Auburn called Fusakli's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was just like, it's a Mobile thing. It's great, all that kind of stuff. And I got a request for a recommendation in Mobile, and I gave a couple of restaurants. But if you need chicken fingers, go to this place. So we started talking about it, and one of the administrators, maybe the upper school director, we were talking, and he said something along the lines of, "Hey, you mean like it's like a Zaxby's?"
Yes. Mhm.
Went, "No, don't ever say that. Are you kidding?" But
Cannot be compared.
no, at all. But
Oh, that is so funny.
I go there
Yeah.
usually when I go to Auburn or go to Mobile
Yeah.
or
Well,
even Tuscaloosa.
They have
So,
one there. Yeah. So I
yeah.
have not been there, but I was in Auburn a couple of weeks ago and I drove past it and I just thought of Marty. I was like, there's Marty's restaurant. So I need to go back and try it
I
at
have
some
no
point.
financial interest or stake in it, but I highly recommend it.
Oh. All right. Well, so last fun fact question. So you are about to retire. If you could go anywhere in the world to travel, just where would you go?
Lots of places. I have by virtue of being an educator, a teacher, been able to take groups all over the world, and I've loved that part of it and sharing that experience with them. But I think I would like to go somewhere without 80 of my best friends.
Yeah.
I just kind of like to go and explore, and so that list is very long. There are a lot of places I would like to go back to.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Me
But
too. Me too.
I don't know that I could narrow something down.
I know some of these questions aren't really fair because I don't have just one particular answer for any of them myself. So
When I was in college, my parents supported me in doing this, going to British studies, study abroad for the summer. But I traveled a few weeks before, and I can remember going to a train station in Paris and looking up and going, I'm going to go to Amsterdam.
Really?
Yeah, just making that kind of decision and going and navigating all the challenges which are out there. Just I remember that feeling and writing my parents a letter when I finally landed in Oxford and just said thank you for letting me do this.
All right. Well, one other question is that's coming to my mind as you're talking, and this isn't on our list, so I'm throwing this at you. Our seniors are about to leave and they're about to just have so many experiences at their feet, essentially. As they're leaving Brookstone, what is something you would say to them, either to take advantage of or to look forward to? What if you could say something to our seniors, what would you say?
I say this usually in my welcome at graduation, just about how so many of them, when I'm talking to them in small groups or whatever, they talk about how excited they are about going off to school, but how reluctant they are to leave Brookstone. And the advice I give them is, you're ready, you're prepared in every way. But the thing to remember is that this is a place that cares about you very deeply. So come back and tell us what you've done and whatever you've conquered, which, to be a Brookstone alum is something special. And they do great things out in the world. And just to go, do, be is important.
Totally agree. Marty, this has been so much fun.
Well, thanks, Avery. Thank you for asking me.
Well, I'm so glad. And thank you for, being willing to let me ask you all these questions. And we are going to miss you very much. So
I'm going to miss everybody and everything.
Well, I thank you just not only for myself, but just collectively, just thank you for what you've done for our school and for the students. And I know you have meant a lot to all of us. So
you guys have no idea how important you are to me.
Thank you. All right. So before I start crying, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.